All right, guys. I don't know what's up with StreamYard tonight, but it's being absolute garbage. And I'm trying to get the audio and or not the audio, but the camera and everything worked out here. But it's like everything is not working. Give me 1 second to try and sort this out because it is not doing what it's supposed to be doing at all. Yep. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to duck back out 1 second. See if I can figure out what the hell is wrong with this damn thing. All right. So I don't know what was going on there, but it just was not cooperating with me and everything, and it's still not entirely cooperating with me. So what we're gonna do here is, for some odd reason, StreamYard's just being an absolute bitch tonight, and it's not letting me do any of the shit that it normally does, and I have no fucking idea why, and it's starting to piss me off. But what I have done here is, since I can't upload the damn slides, I have found a way to be able to do them with share screen. So it probably won't look like it normally does, but I'll do my absolute best with it to make it work and everything like that. I just wanted to at least recap the game last night to a decent degree, since I didn't even do a written damage report last night, but I was really damn tired and I had to get up and go to work this morning. This will not be a very long show. One thing I'm going to try to do tomorrow, if I can, one, get the slides to work, and two, figure out whatever is wrong. I'm going to try to upload them one more time after I go through the comments here. I'm going to try and figure out whatever the hell is wrong with this damn thing. And if I can, then tomorrow I was going to do a recap of the whole road trip and kind of break down the numbers and everything. Overall, very successful road trip for the Canes. But I would like to go over it in greater detail and look at the entire thing as a whole and talk about some of the things I feel like that they can improve. You know, there's always room for improvement. Last night, to quote my favorite movie that's on that poster back there, the encounter was a victory, but I think we've shown it as an example of what not to do. Talking to you, Kochekov. But let's see if I can. I'm going to try one more time to upload this these slides and see if it works. No, it doesn't want to work for some reason. All right, I'll just have to do it a different way. That's fine. All right, let's go through the comments first. Coconut Kyle, you had the score right if someone could have stayed in his net. Yeah, that was like infuriating. He was about 6 inches away from that becoming the greatest thing ever, or it was going to be what it ended up being. BTS, not the band, Yellow. What's up, buddy? I like how as soon as I said I didn't like Kochekov in the group chat, he perfectly explained why. I like Cooch a lot, but that was really damn stupid. Like, he really fucked up, and nobody knows it more than him. Like, there, trust me, he's fully aware of what he did. You could see it in the look in his eyes, and he bounced back from it enough for Carolina to win. I think they need to go ahead and start him on Halloween. I'll get to that in a little bit just to try and like get the jitters out of him. So I want you guys to let me know in the chat how well this works out, what I'm about to pull up here, and if you can see it the same way that you would normally be able to see it. Let's see. All right, so we got that there. And here we go. All right. And all right. So you guys should be able to see. Okay. All right, we got get on the audio there. Okay. All righty. All right. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to spend a little bit more time off of the slides in this case, just because they're not really cooperating with me the way that I wanted them to. I don't know why, but we'll get through it. So first things first here, let me get my notes up. All righty. Okay, so in the first period, I noticed that immediately right out of the gate, this game had some damn pace to it, like right from the get-go. All right, everything should still be working just fine there. Let's see. Trying to... There we go. All right, now you guys should be able to see exactly what I'm seeing from here. So first thing I noticed, I'll get to the comments after everything's done with this period and everything like that. All right, so first things first, lots of north-south play, very fast game. William Carrier scored first, and that was a very impressive goal from everybody who was involved. Good job by Drury on the entry. Jackson Blake with that beautiful little one-touch pass, and William Carrier teed it up perfectly. Really, really good start to the night for them in that regard. Brock Besser would answer back a couple of minutes later, though, at 7:17 to make it 1-1. And on that particular play, let me go ahead and jump out of this screen here and come back over here. So I want to talk about that play in particular. You know what? Fuck the slides. The slides are not happening tonight. I'll use them for reference, but I'm not dealing with all that shit. All right, there we go. All right, so I will reference the slides. I will post them on X later and everything like that so you guys can see them and everything, but it's mostly stuff that I already posted. So the thing I want to highlight about that goal, one of the things I talked about in regards to JT Miller is how he uses his size to create time and space, and that's what he did in that particular case. He used his frame, he used his skating ability, and he got Kochekov to bite really, really hard, and it was basically a tap in for Brock Besser after that. Besser hardly had to do any work because JT Miller is so good at doing things like that, working in tight around the net and being able to create enough time and space to create a play like that to the point where even with Jacob Slavin standing there, he couldn't do anything about it to stop it. So at that point, Vancouver kind of started to get a little bit of momentum. All right, so the second Canucks goal, fortunately, that ended up being offside. Rod Brindamore did a really, really good job by using his timeout at that particular point, and that probably saved the entire effort for that game because every single little sequence, it seemed like every single shift was not going well for the Canes between the time Vancouver or the time that Brock Besser scored and then the time of the second goal that was ultimately overturned. Good offsides call. Honestly, I don't know how the linesman didn't see that, but we have the benefit of replay and doing it in slow motion, so it's easy for us to say how did they not see that, but to them, frame of reference is a thing. Games played at a breakneck pace, so they see it a little bit differently than we do, being like right up there in the front and everything like that. But ultimately, that slowed the game down, gave Kochekov time to get himself together, gave the whole team time to get themselves together. So after winning the challenge, the Hurricanes looked a little bit better. Kochekov looked more confident in particular after that because I think he took a deep breath and got himself together. He got a little overconfident later in the game, but we will get to that. Burns drew a penalty, and during that first power play, or Burns drew a penalty during that first power play, I noticed that it was a little bit, I think the word that Tripp used was stationary. I think I described it as dormant. The guys were not moving their feet a whole lot. Vancouver was having a really, really hard time keeping them on the perimeter, and they just kept cycling the puck on the outside, and they couldn't create any good passing lanes. They couldn't create any good shooting lanes. That resulted in Martin Necas eventually trying to force a cross-ice pass that wasn't there, and it just killed all the momentum for that power play. And I'm surprised that he tried to do that when he did. I thought that was a bad idea from the get-go, and I saw it happening well before it actually occurred. So it was easy for the Canucks to keep them on the perimeter. The Canes get to the room with the score being 1-1. Or excuse me, 2-1. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention. So also Martin Necas scored on what I was afraid was offside at first. Kotkaniemi did a good job getting the puck up to him. He did a good job staying onside, or at least close enough to where Vancouver didn't feel the need to challenge it, and scored a beauty of a goal. Eric Robinson did a really good job helping out with that too, with the secondary assist. I think he has quietly been one of our better players as far as the score sheet is concerned. But if you're watching the games, you understand that Eric Robinson is starting to have a pretty definitive impact on the Hurricanes. And it's the thing with intangibles. You don't really appreciate them until you see someone that doesn't have them. At this point, I can safely say if Eric Robinson came out of the lineup, you would notice a difference. But he's being a quiet difference maker right now as far as on the score sheet, but he's bringing the intangibles. You're seeing what he's doing every night, working hard and working hard for puck retrieval, puck pursuit, winning board battles, all that type of stuff. So he's actually been doing really, really good for the Canes. So moving on to the second, Aho drew a high stick. Orlov coughed it up during a delayed call, which I was kind of like, I thought he was pretty rough. Necas was tripped during the penalty, and they draw a 5-on-3. The Canes didn't score on that 5-on-3. Kochekov made a lot of big saves after the kill. He made a critical stoppage that slowed things down a little bit when the Canucks were gaining momentum a lot through the middle of the second period. Let's see what else we got here. So another thing I want to highlight with all this, Carolina, they needed to count their lucky stars. They were ahead at this point in this game because despite the first goal, the shaky start that led to the Canucks tying it, they had all the momentum. And Kochekov got a little bit better as the game went along up until he made that boneheaded move in the third period. And the Canes not scoring on that 5-on-3 almost came back to haunt them. Like I said, if it turned into a special teams battle, it's not good for them. They still managed to win, but the power play, to me, it looked like it was regressing a whole lot on a fundamental level. The penalty kill came up big. It looked good both times. Entries 5-on-5 looked very good. That was something that I noted during the second intermission radar. And that actually, here's what's funny about it. All the goals scored during regulation were 5-on-5, and all the ones that Carolina scored were on clean entries. That's not something that normally happens. And for a stretch of time, the Hurricanes' best player was Kochekov during the second period. So eventually Carolina would make it 3-1. Jack Roslovic scores off of he was really smart about how he went about this goal. He went wider of the net than a lot of other players would in that situation, and that gave Burns a little bit more time to be able to distribute the puck the way that he did. Necas, again, good job on making that entry happen. Martin Necas, it's not just the points, it's not just the playmaking right now that he's racking up. It's what he's doing with possession of the puck is generating chances 2, 3, 4 seconds later with 2, 3, 4 different Hurricanes touching the puck before it goes in the net or before there's a shot on goal. Martin Necas is making a lot of those things happen. He's being a lot smarter with how he's working to the middle of the ice on entry. He's not just cutting to the middle and coughing it up like he was before. He's choosing the right time to do that. He's hitting the brakes at the right time to wait for other guys to catch up and get on side. He's also doing really good about going to the outside, scooping in, and then either making the decision to recoil back or push that further and try to get closer to the net, closer to the goal line. He's working a lot better close to the boards, and he's always used open ice really well, but I think he's done that exceptionally well in the last few games in particular. But he helped make that happen with Andrei Svechnikov getting the secondary assist. Now, going on to the third period, it looked pretty good for the Canes going into the third, but it was not the absolute best period to start. And slowly Vancouver started taking momentum of that and everything. And you felt it coming after a while. 7:56, Quinn Hughes scores from a slap shot from the point, assisted by Brock Besser and JT Miller to make it 3-2. Pius Suter would tie it at 16:55. Daniel Sprong with another assist and Niels Höglander. And that's what I was talking about before. When you look at where Vancouver has gotten all their goals, they got them all from the top six. Brock Besser from JT Miller and Quinn Hughes. Quinn Hughes from Brock Besser and JT Miller. Pius Suter from Daniel Sprong and Niels Höglander being the only time that they scored outside of the top six. So Hurricanes, like at this point, they really were not doing that well. They didn't really at that point deserved to win that game. And I'd be remiss not to mention what led to that third goal. Kochekov, his heart was in the right place, but his brain was not with that poke check. That was one of those times where Chatfield had enough of a step to where he could get back and cover, and Kochekov should have just kept his ass in the net, and he didn't do it. And that could have potentially cost the Hurricanes the game. And you could tell he was shaky from there until the end. I'm really, really glad he did not have to face a shot in overtime. So ultimately, the stats that we had at the end of regulation wouldn't change much at the end of overtime. So at the end of regulation, it was 3-3. The Hurricanes had 32 shots on goal. Vancouver had 27. Face-off percentage, Carolina 48.1, Vancouver 51.9. Neither team scored on the power play, and both had 3 opportunities. Carolina, of course, having a 5-on-3 that they didn't convert on. And that's what Vancouver built all the momentum off of that they used in the third period. Hits were actually relatively even though it felt like Vancouver was a lot more physical. It was only reflected as 23 for the Hurricanes, 28 for the Canucks. Block shots, Hurricanes had more of them, 12-8. And then going into overtime, there was only 1 shot on goal. The overtime was very, very well executed by the Canes. Jordan Stahl wins the faceoff. It comes all the way back. Jacob Slavin backtracks to go get it. Aho jumps on. Natchez jumps on after Stahl and Burns jump off. Slavin jumps off for a change with Gostisbehere. That ultimately set up the winning sequence. Gostisbehere shoots it from the point after Aho made a good play to help keep the puck down there in the zone. Natchez gets a secondary assist. Shane Gostisbehere goes to take the shot, and Sebastian Aho buries the rebound for a 4-3 overtime win. That was a nail-biter, but honestly, being at the end of the road trip, those guys were just ready to go ahead and get back home and everything. Solid outing. If I can figure out what the hell's wrong with these slides tomorrow, the show will be a lot better, because I was just kind of flipping back and forth between screens here. So I would like to apologize that this is not the quality that it normally is, but it will be better next time as long as I can get this figured out. I don't know why it's not, because I reference the slides while I'm working and I only have one monitor. So that's about all I really got for this one. I just wanted to get that damage report out of the way. I will be making plans to try and do a stream tomorrow, and I will probably do Landfall Hour on Sunday. Next week, I won't be around. I will try to do written Landfall Hour and written damage report for both of those games, but don't expect to hear from me for when they play the Flyers and the Penguins next week. I'm probably going to be somewhere where I don't have internet. As I aforementioned, I don't want to deal with the election bullshit, but that's basically all I got for this, guys. I'm very sorry the presentation didn't go the way it was supposed to, because for some odd reason, it just won't let me upload the damn slides, and that just kind of threw everything off, but I did the best I could with what I had. But Jackson Blake is showing a whole lot of confidence. Here, I got a few more things to reference in my notes. Jackson Blake is showing a whole lot of confidence, like when he tried to put that spin move on to score that goal. That was something else, and it would have given KK another assist if he had scored. Let's see. There was one other defensive play that Svechnikov actually made near the end of the third period that on Elias Pettersson. Natchez forced, and then later Natchez actually stepped up on Quinn Hughes at the point and managed to force a zone exit that probably saved the Hurricanes from getting scored on again and losing that game 4-3 in regulation. They really needed to get to the overtime and let the Stars take over, and that's exactly what happened. So, sorry for a shorter show than usual, guys. It's just them damn slides kind of threw me off. But once I have 2 monitors, that won't be as much of a problem. But I appreciate everything. Thank you all for the support and everything. All Canes Network, if you're watching this, thank you for what you said to that other idiot that started shit with me on X. But, I went ahead and blocked him because he was just being a douchebag. But that's all I got for tonight, guys. But I'll get the technical difficulties figured out, and because they were completely unforeseen, and we will have a better show either tomorrow night or Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I will try to get a couple of things in over the course of this week. Again, thank you guys for all the support. I appreciate it very much. Y'all take care. I will see you next time.